Hello my fellow gamers! It's been a couple of weeks since the update was launched to live servers and many of us has farmed all the gear necessary to complete our new level 75 builds. Some of you guys have farmed for a specific weapon, a gear piece from any of the queens, or still stuck at a certain rank that you need from one of the boss that you are dying to. Like imagine dying to an arena crafting master from Wiz. If any of you guys know me, I am a master farmer. I love to farm items in games like these and I want to test myself and the game to see how long it takes to complete the full list of drops for Valencia Part 3. Every single unique gear from this update I have gotten and I have recorded every single one of them, with all their times posted on my Discord. Link is in the description if anybody wants to join. In this video, I want to talk about each boss that drops their own unique loot and my personal experience with each farm. So there are 54 items to farm in this update, which includes all the gear pieces for each class, all the weapons, all accessories, and the cosmetic gear. Each of the bosses drop their own dedicated loot except for one of them, Dewey. The first of the Courtyard Bosses in the update, the Crab Hermit from the Fantastic Voyage Gauntlet in Wizard 101, drops some of the weapons that you would normally get from their own dedicated loot source. He is another option if you want to farm the weapons that come with their own powers. I don't include him into my farming time since he's an alternative loot source for some of these drops. So let's actually start with Tybalt. Tybalt has a smashing 10k HP for a boss with some nasty epics to push you away from him. But thankfully, he cannot move in this fight, so it's actually very easy to defeat him if you have any range in your setup. He has only 2 drops, the Queen's Vigilant piece taking about 40 minutes and the Queen's Protective piece taking 8 hours to farm. Tybalt literally drops nothing but random musical scrolls and the occasional mounts, so it's one of the most boring fights to farm as you literally just get the totems or straight up just get nothing for several hours. He's not a bad farm, just a bit boring because he literally does nothing except just buffing the minions. Next is Margarita, which took less time to farm than Tybalt. She also has 2 drops, the class of the Morning Queen taking about just an hour and the class of the Vengeance Queen taking roughly 4 hours to complete. The difficulty in her fight varies depending on the class because of her gimmick of just having a crap ton of armor, so physical attacks literally do nothing. But if you are a witch doctor with heat metal, you could basically just nuke the shit out of her. Tactical nuke incoming! And lastly, of the Courtyard Bosses, we have Marco. And Marco is definitely the worst boss to farm in this update. Definitely way worse than the Queens because of the mechanics and the battle board. The tankiest unit in the game and the battle board just sucks balls to play around with. Marco does have 5 drops, with the quickest being the Silver Ring of the Enigma, which took about 10 minutes, which is around like 2 runs, and the longest being the Gilded Ring of the General, taking 10 hours. Honestly, this farm is just terrible in my opinion because I did this for the entire day, all the way until 7 in the morning until I finally got the last drop. I was so dead during this, the farm is just slow and boring to get through, but at least the minions do drop loot to sell, and you can build progress on those unicorn kills to get the companion unlocked. But honestly, I will say, fuck Heavy Scales 3, all my homies hate Heavy Scales 3. Send this guy back to the arena in Wizard 101. So that was the Courtyard Bosses. Now we got all the queens and their respective drops. So each queen corresponds to each of the class and their drops. For example, the Deacon Queen will drop Musketeer gear, the Bishop Queen will drop Witch gear, and then the normal Queen, which is at the end, drops Privateer gear. So you kinda get the idea. There is a lot of drops with each queen, so I will post each gear and the hours on screen when I talk about them. The first is the Deacon Queen, which is honestly just terrible if you are playing Musketeer. I had to farm this boss on my buck because these Musketeer minions are just bad. Not to mention that some of them can also have Overwatch 5, so that also sucks. Thankfully, this is one of the 2 queen fights where you can actually just cabin farm. But even with the cabin farm, Deacon took me about 7 hours to complete. I did this during stream, and I guess because streamer luck, I was able to get the last drop on my last run before I ended the stream. The Deacon farm is just bad because of the minions with the Musketeer Medal and the Overwatch 5s. But if you're playing Buck, you should have an easier time with it, especially if you have a hide. Next is the Rook Queen fight, which is also the other fight that you can cabin farm. Rook Queen has the same cheats as Rook himself with the Ricochet and the Overprotection, so as long as you're not shooting her, you should be fine with this farm. But Rook Queen isn't really that bad at all, with the longest being the Buck Hack taking 4 hours to complete, which is honestly very generous. The next is the other 3 queens, and they're all in a singular dungeon. Unfortunately, you cannot cabin farm any of these, so I had to go through the entire dungeon to farm everything, so whoopee. First, the Bishop Queen, in my opinion, is the worst queen to farm. She has this thing where if you play Scratch, you're gonna die from Mojo Burn. Or if you're just unlucky, you get chained to death because of her Mojo Rising 5 and Mojo Echo 5. She also does have Mojo Blizzard that slows melee pirates by a large distance, so yeah, she's really annoying. And you know what's the worst part about her? The damn drop rates. I don't know why, but Bishop Queen has the lowest drop rates from any of the queens from my experience. It was a nightmare to farm her, and some of my times prove it. Like, legit, look at these times. Look at it. 3 of them are in double digits. And considering I needed like 3 of these magic blasters, the first one taking 16 hours, which is just a pain in the ass. Honestly, screw you, Bishop Queen. I just want my weapons, and after farming for literally over 20 hours, thank God I'm done with that. Next is the Fool Queen, or the Queen of the Enigma, and she is no different. For some reason, she is also a Witch Doctor but has squash abilities, so she's technically a melee Witch Doctor. She's not a hard queen to fight, but the fact that she also has Mojo Burn is just icing on the cake for anybody using Scratch again. The hours were also terrible as usual. The funny thing is, I got the Fool's Endgame Dueling set early, but I accidentally sold it after not realizing that I got it, so I had to refarm it, which took 16 hours. Why does this dungeon just hate me? And lastly, the original queen, the final boss in this list, and surprisingly, the worst one for all the wrong reasons. First, the fight is actually not hard. She might have scary epics, but she honestly not bad of a farm. In terms of her gear, the privateer gear, it only took 8 hours to farm all of it. However, she also has extra drops to record. First, the Cane Robe, which does drop from any of the queen bosses, but I got it from the original queen specifically, only took about 2 hours. And I would not include the mask, since you can technically just get that from Kane, and I got the mask like twice during my farming sessions. She has the final drops, the Stitch gear. Yes, I include the Stitch gear. The Stitch gear was instant regret the moment I included it into my farming list. So the uniform took 30 minutes and the shoes took a staggering 8 hours. So how long did the hat take? Well, I want you to just imagine how long you think it took for me to farm. Just think, it is the last boss of this entire update, the last boss of the instance, and the queen having the most drops compared to the others, so pulling the item will be even more RNG. So, did you guys think of a number? Did you guys think that it could be 10 hours? 16 hours? 20 hours? Alright. Imagine farming this hat for 38 hours! I just can't anymore. It took me about 2 weeks of just farming this item every single night trying to get this stupid Stitch hat that I will never even use. Why do I do this to myself? Why? I just need to get that off my chest. But besides that, that is all the times for each item farmed in this update. And again, here it is in my Discord if anybody is curious for the full list. Make sure to join the Discord if you also want to see some other painful farms. Link is also in the description. And trust me, some of these hours are ridiculous. But anyways, hope you guys all enjoyed the video. This was my experience with Valencia Part 3 or Trigonon Palace and its drop race. Personally, this is my favorite update to Pirate101 so far, as it brought me back playing the game with the grind for new gear and to the new level cap at level 75. For any of you guys that are watching the video to the end, I pray that your farming sessions are way better than mine. Like, don't go for 38 hours for the Stitch hat. Like, please, don't do it. You guys are also having some painful farms and some painful times and you want to share it, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Pirate101 content in the future. Follow me on twitch.tv/gbtg as I also do stream Pirate101, Wizard101 and some other games content as well. And until the next video, I will see you guys later. Happy farming and happy pirating.